Welcome back to The Explainer. Today we're unpacking a really fascinating, deeply philosophical text from 2011 by an author named Su Feng. It's titled The Meaning and Distinctions Between Non-Action and Purposeful Action. And let me tell you, this is going to challenge pretty much everything modern society tells us about how we should live, work, and strive. It presents a completely radical categorization of human existence. We're going to explore the author's intricate theological framework together and look at exactly how he separates the mundane struggles of everyday life from what he describes as ultimate spiritual liberation. Okay, let's dive right into this. Are you living like the ocean or like a wave? Now, this isn't just some poetic thought experiment. It's the central, foundational metaphor of the entire text. It essentially forces us to immediately question our current state of being. The author uses this stark, honestly beautiful imagery to set up the rest of his philosophy. Everything we're going to talk about today stems directly from how you answer this specific question. To really grasp that metaphor, we have to look at how Su Feng categorizes the entire universe. He splits existence into two deeply conflicting paths. On one side, we have the ocean, which he identifies as non-action, or the way of heaven. And on the flip side, we have the waves, representing purposeful action, or the way of humanity. According to the text, you absolutely cannot be both. You're either the deep, undisturbed waters of the cosmos, or you're the turbulent, crashing, temporary froth on the surface. The author asserts that this duality defines literally every single choice we make. Now, what's really interesting about this concept is how Su Feng defines this state of the ocean, known in Chinese philosophy as wu wei, or non-action. We usually think of non-action as laziness, right? Like just sitting around doing nothing. But the text defines it as complete and total alignment with nature. It means operating according to objective laws, simply letting things naturally rise and fall. It's allowing flowers to bloom and wither, seasons to change, and the moon to wax and wane without a single worry or thought. It's an existence completely free of friction. To really hammer home how profound this emptiness is, the text draws directly from the Heart Sutra. It states, no sensation, no perception, no ignorance, no suffering, no wisdom, and no attainment. I mean, wow. Think about what that actually requires. To achieve Wu Wei, Su Feng explains that a person must have a heart entirely free from any delusional dreams, any attachments, fears, or selfish desires. It's a state of absolute, pure neutrality where you just accept things exactly as they are and seize natural opportunities as they pop up without forcing anything at all. Contrast that profound emptiness with the reality most of us actually live in, which the text calls yu wei, or purposeful action. This is the way of the waves. The author defines this as maximizing our desires and needs, fully utilizing our intelligence, and constantly using our willpower to change everything around us so it fits our own personal wishes. Think of modern hustle culture, right? The endless climbing of the corporate ladder, the exhaustion of trying to curate the perfect life. This is exactly what the text means by being a crashing wave. It's the constant, exhausting hustle to bend the universe. Actually, scratch that. It's more like trying to force the universe to fit our own tiny individual agendas. And just look at the sheer weight of what traps us here. Marriage, family, religion, politics, property, status, and of course, the endless ticking clock of aging and death. If your heart is tied to any of these, if you have hopes, fears, anxieties, or dependencies, the author states unequivocally that you are trapped. You are a full-time practitioner of purposeful action. All of these modern anxieties keep us endlessly crashing as those turbulent waves, preventing us from ever knowing true, deep peace. So the crucial point here is where the author draws a hard line in the sand. By quoting Sakyamuni Buddha, who states, all sages and saints are distinguished by their practice of non-action, the author establishes a very clear dividing line. Wisdom and foolishness aren't measured by how much you know or how much stuff you own. No way. They are measured strictly by whether you practice non-action or purposeful action. In this framework, the sages are the ones who do nothing, and the fools are the ones constantly doing something. Building right on top of that, Su Feng brings in the Tao Te Ching to validate the supreme divine value of non-action. Therefore, the sage deals with affairs through non-action and teaches without words. By layering these major ancient traditions together, Buddhism and Taoism, the author is making a very deliberate case. He's arguing that throughout all of human history, the absolute highest spiritual truth has always been this practice of letting go, of stopping the endless forcing of our own agendas. But Su Feng doesn't stop at ancient quotes. he introduces his own overarching theological framework, the greatest creator. He states that the way of this creator is non-action, yet nothing is left undone. In this specific worldview, all of our human efforts, all our striving, sweating, and stressing, are considered completely insignificant before the way of the creator. The text argues that we literally cannot force our way to enlightenment. Instead, we have to fundamentally shift our state of being to align with this higher power. So, how does one actually achieve this? Well, the author lays out a very specific, sequential path for spiritual liberation. It's presented almost like a logical formula. Step 1, you must enter a state of non-action. Step 2, by doing so, you merge with the way of the greatest creator. Step 3, this merging allows you to enter what the text calls the Elysium world. It's a very rigid stepping stone process. You simply have to drop your worldly baggage first in order to fit through the door to merge with the divine. Let's see how this all builds up. The cosmic rewards for following this sequence? The text outlines outcomes that are nothing short of massive. If you merge with the creator through non-action, the author states you achieve eternal life, you become celestial beings, you suddenly handle all worldly affairs effortlessly, and you attain ultimate wisdom and freedom in the universe. Because as the logic goes, once you merge, the wisdom of the greatest creator quite literally becomes your own wisdom. But this requires embracing a massive paradox, which is really the absolute core of this philosophy. The text compares the secular idea of having everything to the spiritual idea of having nothing. According to Zui Feng, the more you possess, whether it's money, status, or even relationships, the more troubles you encounter and the further away you push yourself from heaven. Conversely, having nothing is defined as the absolute highest state of life. The logic here is that only by emptying your hands of the secular world can you actually possess everything in the spiritual realm. Which naturally leads us to a massive, glaring question. How do we actually do this? I mean, how does anyone escape the secular world? It's one thing to sit here and talk about giving up all possessions, family ties, and anxieties in theory, but how can any normal person practically achieve this impossible-sounding emptiness while living right in the middle of our demanding modern society? We all have rent to pay, families to feed, and lives to manage. The author's answer to that is honestly quite blunt. You can't. Xu Feng takes a firm stance that normal society is a secular trap. He argues that while you're living in the secular world, you will fundamentally fail to even understand non-action, let alone achieve it. The sheer pressure of the system forces everyone into a constant state of stressful, purposeful action. You are forced to be a wave, constantly crashing against the rocks of daily survival. And this brilliantly illustrates where Xu Feng introduces his practical solution to this dilemma, what he calls the second home. According to the text, this is a specific, completely separate environment designed to gradually guide followers away from secular anxieties and into a true state of non-action. He describes it as a smooth, carefully guided path to heaven, claiming that if you follow his route, the future is indescribably wonderful. He essentially proposes an entirely new ecosystem to make his philosophy actionable. To close out today's explainer, the author leaves us with this striking quote. All conditioned phenomena are like a dream, an illusion, a bubble, a shadow, like dew or a flash of lightning. Thus should you view them. It's a really powerful summary of everything we've looked at today. It asks you to look at your stressful job, your daily anxieties, all your purposeful action, and realize how incredibly fragile and temporary it all might be. So I leave you with this final thought. When you wake up tomorrow and feel the overwhelming pressure of your daily life, are you entirely sure that what you're stressing over isn't just a passing illusion?